Welcome, everybody, to No Outside Food Allowed, Episode 6. We're here to discuss what's new in entertainment and games, and today that includes, of course, Black Panther. I think everybody in the world went to see that this weekend.
Judging by the $33 million plus they
made so much money.
On Thursday only, right?
Right?
Mm-hmm. We're also going to talk about indie comics you should be reading.
Yes.
Other than Marvel and DC. Also, a continuation from last week, movies that were made into TV shows.
Some's good, some's bad.
Some's bad. And lastly, a friendly discussion on what the best ever movie soundtrack is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
Are we all picking Frozen?
No, man.
Let it go.
Let
Don't
it go.
spoil
We'll
my
find out.
pick,
I
man.
know, right? Dang, I thought we weren't going to tell
That's it. I'm
anybody.
changing it.
As always, I'm Adam. I'll be the Scott Summers of this group of X-Men.
Oh, snap.
Whooping the Brotherhood today with me, Chris Felix.
Oh, you already know who I am. It's Logan all the way, buddy.
Logan.
Or, excuse me, Bub.
Sam Liam.
The Juggernaut, known as Sam Lim.
The Juggernaut bitch.
We set you up, man. Come on.
Eddie McGowan.
I'll be Wade Wilson, of course.
Yes, high
Of
fives.
course. And Chris Gagne.
I'd have to choose Gambit, I guess, of what's left over. So,
Oh, little Remy.
yeah.
Ooh, Remy LeBeau.
The Raging Cajun.
Only from the
Man,
cartoons.
you're pretty
he was the best.
You're pretty ballsy, bro. Always
loved
going
him.
after a rogue.
Yeah.
He was just wants what he can't have.
Can't take no for an answer.
If only they could make a good version of him in the movies, that would be awesome.
So,
So
are you
you're
the
not a
Channing
fan of
Tatum?
Channing Tatum? Yeah.
No, and I wasn't excited about the other guy in X-Men Origins. So,
We don't talk about
Oh,
that.
the dude from Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights,
I forgot about-
Taylor Kitschford or Kitsch something.
Taylor Kish.
It won't exist if you don't acknowledge it. Just leave it.
I'm sorry.
You mean
I'm
the
sorry,
guy that
Flex.
made the movie Battleship?
Or John
Hey, there was
Carter.
like
That's
there's
Johnny
like 20
Carter.
seconds.
One of the biggest
footage
bombs ever.
Of good Ryan Reynolds in that in that movie.
It's the only
There-
good part about it.
Just before he gets his mouth sewn.
Oh, Gagne.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wasn't he also in what's that movie? Mars?
Yeah.
Something Mars.
Someone said
John
that.
Carter.
Yeah, John Carter on Mars.
Oh, okay.
John
Yeah.
Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That was a flop, unfortunately.
Talk about a bomb.
But he had two flops in 1 year because it was the same year as
Oh,
Battleship
sad
and John
face.
Carter.
Ooh,
I don't think I ever saw Battleship.
I
I
didn't
didn't
either.
either because
this-
I'm not gonna
this
watch
guy had to screen
anything
it.
that's based on a
That
board
was
game.
that a Michael Bay movie?
You didn't watch Clue?
I don't
can't
think
remember.
so.
Well, okay.
No, I don't.
Clue's
think I was either.
amazing, but that's different. That's like classic.
A classic you don't remake.
They'll
I heard
Battleship,
that.
and it's like a murder mystery, right?
Yeah.
This
What?
was-
Oh,
Clue.
you're talking
Clue,
about- okay, I thought you were saying Battleship. I was like, what?
yeah. Who sunk my carrier?
Oh man, those are all good movies. But Black Panther, that was the biggest movie
What's that?
pretty much ever right now. It made
Yes.
$25.2 million on Thursday night alone, with a total of $75.8 million opening, which is fourth highest superhero movie, only behind both the Avengers and Batman versus Superman.
Why was that ranked so bad if it did so well?
If it made so much money, I don't understand why it was such a
Interesting.
flop.
Wow, that is such a bad argument.
You can't just
Why
take in the
does
first
every
week's
Transformers movie make $400 million?
We don't talk about Transformers, guy.
Oh,
We don't talk
okay.
about that.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Anyway,
We'll
it
do that.
passes Deadpool for the biggest weekend ever for a solo superhero movie.
Oh, cool.
That's not a sequel.
It was also smart to be released on Valentine's Day week. Because, I mean, as a
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
that's your excuse. Hey, you want to
Well,
see
they had
Valentine's Day movie? Let's
They had
go
a
watch Black
holiday
Panther.
weekend, and it was obviously a week January showing. There was nothing out, so
Yeah.
that kind of boosted it up a little bit. But it's killing right now. It's looking to make over $200 million in the 4-day weekend.
Dang.
Man,
Estimates at 218 right now, which would make it the fifth largest opening ever.
ugh,
Yeah.
it's huge,
Man.
very huge. What'd you
Gotcha.
guys think of it? We all saw it, right?
Hey, hang on.
Oh, yeah. Sure
So double check here before we go into this uncharted territory of Wakanda. Are we going to do spoiler
We're gonna,
free,
all
right?
right, so let's
well,
do spoiler free
yeah.
for our first initial review, and then we'll give the audience here, the cue, and then we'll get a little bit more in depth.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that everybody's listening right now is gonna have seen it.
So we're gonna
Hopefully.
we're gonna tell them our rating system, right? Or our give it an 8 or a 9 or
Yeah,
whatever.
let's just give it a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go
I'll-
1 to 10. For
I'll
now.
let you gents go first.
Go ahead, Felix.
Oh, sure.
Shout us out.
Okay. Well, I loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think this is easily in my top 5 favorite Marvel movies. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it just from beginning to end. It was just a really entertaining movie.
Now there are 18 other Marvel movies.
There sure are.
Just throwing it out there.
There sure are.
Okay.
I know.
Have you seen Iron Man 2?
Not great. I just saw it last night.
Unfortunately.
Actually, because I
You had to reinforce the bad ones.
No, I'm just kind of like
let's focus on Black Panther.
Well,
for
I know.
now.
I'm just saying because I'm just kind of going back to the old movies, and yeah, that one sucks. But anyways, this one was great. No, like I said, from beginning to end, it was just a really fun, entertaining movie, really colorful, just a beautiful movie to look at. Just so much visual stimulation. Just that alone was just so much character itself, with just the country and the culture that it was representing. I loved all of it. The story itself was, I guess you could say, it's kind of simplistic. It was very much T'Challa finding himself in, to his rightful position as king.
Did you dig the timeline pickup where it just picks up right
yeah,
after?
What's great about it is it very much works as a standalone film. You don't really need to watch necessarily all of the other 17 films like we just said. You can watch this easily by itself.
It's a good
and,
origin
get a lot
story
out of
film.
it. Yeah, it just really built more upon what he established in Civil War as a character. You got a good glimpse of who he was. Now you got to see where he comes from and the world around him. And
Wait, so the origin story came after he was introduced?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
they did
God,
it
it's kind
right.
of like DC.
What?
So
So we can save that argument for another time. Trust me. That's coming.
give me a number, Felix.
Everyone play nice.
I
Everyone play
said 9
nice.
out of 10. And
9 out of 10 is
sorry,
good.
yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it was a really great movie. And one of my favorite parts about it was the fact that the supporting cast was so strong that, like, realistically, like, even when Black Panther himself wasn't there, I was thoroughly entertained by everybody that was around him.
It was a great cast.
What about you, Gagne? What'd you give it?
I'm gonna go 8 out of 10, and I will reserve my judgments for the spoiler section. But I did want to note a couple things in the stat category. The breakdown was 55% males, 45% females, which I thought was really surprising for a superhero film.
Yeah, that's very close.
Yeah, and then 61% of the audience was over 25. So it definitely.
Oh, wow.
Marvel has.
These are some good stats.
They
Well,
have.
you captured a wider audience.
Yeah, it captured a wider audience for a lot of reasons, being the political aspect. And one of my favorite parts was agreed with is the supporting cast. I loved the girl who played Shuri, Black Panther's sister. She is phenomenal, and I thought every time she was on screen, I was swooning because she had so much character and charisma and carried scenes where other people were boring. I loved her character and loved that she was such a prominent figure in it. But I did not have it in my top 5. It's in my top 10, but I made that actual list and looked at all the films and rated them because I was
nice.
like, I needed to see really where I would rank it because I liked it, but I didn't love it.
I'm with you on that. And I guess I'll just continue with mine then, because I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought it was really good. Like Felix said, very visual, very colorful. I love the dream sequences and all that kind of stuff. Where it fell off for me was the plot line. Like you said, it could be considered a little weak. It kind of falls in that same Marvel formula for origin stories. But like Gagne said, the characters and the supporting cast was just so on point that it carried the film. Any scene that his sister was in, she was smart. She was like the James Bond Q
Definitely.
of the movie. Right?
I actually wrote that.
Yeah.
I wrote that down for sure. Was that she was the Q?
Yeah. And so, she stole all the scenes. It was well put together. It just wasn't
definitely.
top 5 for me. I'd say it was somewhere in the top 10. It
Okay.
was definitely a good Marvel film. What do you think, Eddie?
I gave it a 9.5 because I love this movie. I love the soundtrack. There was like some issues I had with it, but none of them that were that took away from my experience in the movie. I was never bored. I didn't think there's
Like, it was
some
good
slightly
pace.
boring. Yeah, there's some slightly boring characters, but for the most part, I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, it was beautiful. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So
Nice.
Cool.
I gave it a straight up 8. I was sitting on 8.5, but due to some of the storyline moves they chose, I gave it an 8. But for me, the most part, like everyone was saying, Shuri was a standout character for sure. She was great. She stole the scenes. I like the dynamics of how his right-hand guard is married to his best friend too. And like how the storyline played out a tad bit Godfather-ish, just a tad bit, like a sprinkle. And then just the drive of him wanting to protect his country and just the storyline. And then I like how they explained the dynamics of the suit itself. Like they actually explained the tech. That's one thing I do enjoy is when you watch comic book movie and actually give you details on why this works this way, why this works that way.
They're not just throwing like a Star Trek word at you and hoping that you believe it.
Yeah. Or they're not just
Good
like
example.
throwing.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. This one actually got in depth on how he came about the strength, the powers, just the origin of everything. I thought it was really creative. It's a good, cool direction for Marvel to go towards.
Nice.
I also felt like it was a good movie. Like even if it was separate from being like a comic book movie, like it could have just been a regular movie.
It also had a little bit of that like James Bond kind of vibe too, you know.
Oh my god.
Definitely.
Let's go into the spoilers so we can get a little bit more into that James
Sweet.
Bond scene.
So anyone listening, fast forward just a little bit because we're gonna get into spoilers territory, folks. Sorry.
Has to be done.
It has to be done.
For the greater good.
Cool. Well, spoilers begin now.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with the James Bond thing, I guess. You did kind of get the feeling like, you know, he had that poise in the
That's
suit.
the swagger.
Kind of
Carried
walked
it
into
really
that
well.
underground casino. They had a big old fight scene, kind of reminded you of James Bond because he was always in the casino starting
yeah.
crap.
That scene was great.
Yeah,
I mean, like Eddie was saying, we were talking about just the way it was shot, the long action takes. Like it's obviously, of course, it's edited, you know, but the way it's shot was just so cool. It just these long take fights. It kind of reminded me of Creed a little bit. It just shot so well.
If
I
we
was
think
loving
about
the
it,
spear fights.
it does remind you of 007 because there was a fight scene in Casino too, underground casino, the pit with the Komodo dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking of.
It reminded me of that big time.
Followed by a car chase right after it. So, I mean, that happens in Casino
was awesome.
Royale. So,
Yes, yeah. I will say this about the action in the first kind of half hour of the movie. It did seem a little shaky, a little dark.
When he was doing the Batman thing.
Yeah, you couldn't quite see the action that was going on. I thought maybe they were trying to hide some CG in there.
Yeah.
That was just the one scene though in the beginning when he drops into the forest.
When Michonne tells him not to freeze.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that kind of was doing the whole Batman thing where it's just showing the perspective from the casual villain side. Like, you know, what the hell is that? It's just like you can't see it coming at you.
Well, that's not
sort
quite
of.
what I mean. I mean, I get the aspect of trying to put on a show, but it was the technical side of it.
Yeah,
the camera
the
being real
editing.
shaky.
Yeah.
Not being able
I
to
know
see
exactly
the
what you mean.
action.
Yeah.
You know, not being able to actually see the characters fight each other. I felt like it was a little dark, you know. But that's just nitpicking the editing a little bit on my side.
I felt that too. Like I was like, they're trying to do a Batman thing, but they're not doing.
They're not showing the
they're not-
action.
yeah,
I
they're
couldn't
not
tell what
doing
was
it.
going on.
They're not doing it as well as a Batman movie does. a good Batman movie.
My two spoiler gripes kind of was I know they didn't show it per se, but I think they killed off useless Claw a little early.
They killed off both bad guys.
Yeah, they killed him off way too early, dude. Like, Killmonger was a really cool bad guy. Like, he kicked down the door. He's like, I'm taking your home. And he fucking took the throne, dude.
And burnt everything down.
Dude,
And
I thought it was amazing.
I felt bad for him at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Like he actually made me tear up, and that doesn't usually happen.
Here was my negative thing at the end. He brought him up to the cliff, right? He wanted to see the sunset. I thought that was a cool moment. But
Very
then
cool
why
moment.
kill him off there?
Yeah, they
There's no
shouldn't have.
redemption for that character. They don't have
Well-
the technology to go heal him.
He offered to heal him.
I know, but I thought that was kind of just a weak point in the movie. He just decides he's gonna, you know,
That was
pull
like-
it out and die instead.
Well, that
of
was his
trying-
whole thing. Was he wanted to die
it's
the
all
way
or
that he
nothing.
wanted to
He-
die,
he
and
said
not.
it himself too. Like he would rather die than be bound and live in that kind
Eh,
of
I think it's
light.
weak.
Well, but then that kind of goes into more, regular cliche stuff where you get the typical redemption, like, oh well, maybe you're not so bad after all. Like we can rebuild you into a fucking good person.
Well,
Like,
did they not end
His
the movie
name is
on White Wolf,
Killmonger.
who was a bad guy who they redeemed?
well, this has been going on for
Come
several
on.
movies. I mean, like, come on. This
You
is
want another one? So
No. It's actually a good argument, though. If White Wolf, a.k.a. Bucky, can be redeemed, right? Then why couldn't Killmonger be redeemed? Like, he was such a good villain. He'd make a good anti-hero.
And he didn't die in the comics. Neither did Claw, by the way.
no one dies in the comics.
go ahead,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I completely agree on the claw aspect because for me that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. The fact that I knew it was coming and I knew Andy Serkis was going to be awesome, but I could have seen him. I want to see him in more Avenger movies. He's an Avenger bad guy who carries
Yes.
on in many stories
He's
because
a
of
great
the
cameo bad guy.
Yeah,
Oh my
perfect,
God,
yeah.
perfect. He was great
Yes.
in Ultron, and it was why I was so excited to see this, even though I knew there was another bad guy, is that Andy Serkis finally gets from behind the camera to a role in which he can play fun and villainous, and he did it so well, and it's so cool to have his story connect in multiple different Marvel films. But I think that it was appropriate to let him die, or that he chose to die at the end, because it was such a strong moment for him to say that he did not want to be held captive, and to bury him in the ocean like his ancestors who didn't want to be in captivity as well. And it's like that was deep. Like, it was a really deep moment. It was beautiful because he did bring him up to the sunset. And I as much as I like Michael B. Jordan, I thought that there's not really much else to his character. Like, what else is he going to do? Like, try to take the throne again? Like so it's okay to kind of kill him off.
I guess
like,
you got a point there.
I love that he committed to staying evil like the whole way through
couldn't-
because, like I said, you're avoiding that typical cliche where like the Kylo Ren-ish sort of thing. You know, where it's like, is he good? Is he bad? We don't know. Like, no, he's just full on evil. But his reasoning is what makes him a great villain. Is that like he's got a point. Like, you know, to everything. Like, he was stripped away of a lot of entitlement.
That's the thing
off,
I did want to point out
take
is
it
that
back.
this was a very strong political movie too for Marvel and Disney to go that route. I was very surprised they took that political route, or per se.
Well, they took a couple of jabs at Trump in the movie. I'll give you that.
That
A couple of
post-credits.
walls and, you know, welling people off or segregating people. It was very clear in that movie. They were taking shots, but
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
as they should. I mean, why not? This is where we are in the world
Yeah,
right
it's the
now. And
perfect
it's
time
gonna,
for it, I
yeah,
think.
it's gonna come out more and more. It comes out in stand-up comedians. You know, when you listen to them now, they're talking about that stuff. And I think this was not the only political movie that they've done, but probably the strongest as far as, you know, tying into politics. And I loved how they really were like, look, this is supposed to be about unity and sharing with each other and making the world better by giving people hope where there isn't hope. And I loved that aspect of the storyline. It was very much an origin story, but it also had that really strong message. You know, give back to your communities and take care of your own and don't withhold just because you're scared of what
Yeah.
you know may happen
could
if
be.
you help. Yeah, I loved
just
that
there in the
aspect.
future. Just,
Reach out to your people, help them out. You know.
I will say this though: they had no connection to the Soul Stones in this movie.
Disappointing.
They didn't say anything about it, which I think obviously it's coming from the meteorite that brought the vibranium. Is my theory. That's where the Soul Stone's going to be, you know, embedded, or it could possibly be. I heard on the necklace of T'Challa's mother. She had some sort of stone necklace.
It would explain why Thanos is attacking Wakanda
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the trailers.
That-
It makes perfect sense.
I'm kind of okay with this because it sort of gives more mystery to what's happening in Infinity War. Like, where is this stone? So, like, it's going to add a little bit more dimension of, you know, what else is there to come.
We also got mentioned how just the explanation and the use of the technology itself in Wakanda was amazing. Like that, the city itself, it looked really cool, but also I felt like some of its. This from a technical aspect when I watch it was I noticed that some of the set designs looked very familiar to Thor Ragnarok.
In the cities, yeah, it definitely did. What if they reused
It was
sets?
very colorful. Very
I
colorful.
think that's more the artistic design. Isn't that more influenced by the comics? I mean, are we familiar with who illustrated a lot of Black Panther? Was that Jack Kirby?
I'm
Jack
sure it was
Kirby.
Because I know that was a lot of also influence on Ragnarok as well. So that's probably where you're
Yeah.
seeing the similarities.
Sure.
But like you're saying about the design of the city too, I love just the look
Man.
of this movie.
There
It really feels like you're in a different world.
There was a
when you go
word
there.
that I saw as I was looking up some reviews, and it's called Afrofuturism. And it was the idealistic view of what Africa could be had not colonialism and the slave trade happened. And that's what
Interesting.
they're trying to show.
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't be pointing at me.
in this strange sci-fi, you know, culturalistic, you know, hybrid.
Yeah,
that is
That's really
Wakanda. This
interesting.
new, yeah,
That's
and
really
it's-
cool though.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
very,
that,
very
you know,
interesting to me.
I love that they actually designed it over, you know, an ideal, like kind of like utopia in a sense. You know,
And I also thought was really hilarious. Well, funny for me was the husband and wife fight scene when she's making him yield. When he's like attacking her with the rhino full speed, the armored rhino. I was like,
Now,
oh,
see,
he's going to
that's-
yield.
That's something I had a problem with, and why I kind of knocked it down is that if they're
The
in
CG
love,
rhinos?
like no, not even the CG rhinos, is that storyline, like with him being like the man who's guarding the gates, like all of a sudden he turned instantly. Like if his
Yeah,
if
no,
his
I'm with you
love
on
is
that.
part of the royal guard, and he just was like, wow, fuck
He's
it,
kind of a spineless.
yeah,
second-rate
I just
character
I'm
there.
like that's kind of weak. I didn't like that aspect. My other gripes were minor, but it kept me from rating it higher than some other films.
Give us your gripes, bro. We're here for you. Give us your gripes.
Thought it was long in the tooth. It was far longer than it needed to be. I didn't need to see two battles for the throne. I get it. I get that that the idea behind taking the king's seat is that you have to fight for it, but you didn't need to do that the first time if you were going to do it the second time with Michael B. Jordan. And I understand it was done because
To set up that character.
to set up the character for the Mountain
He could have done that
King.
another way.
Yeah, let him challenge it in some other way, and then just mention like, "Hey, no, it's not time. You have to do this in a fight." Something like that.
you
Just
go.
I was okay with that. I'm sorry, but no, that scene where he actually gets chucked off the falls, where he just like benches him. That's like straight out of the comics. Like that, he's he's known for not being able to beat Killmonger. So I'm kind of okay that they actually showed his struggle against him, and the whole redemption arc.
Yeah.
That I will say that's one of my complaints. It's a minor complaint. It's just like, due to the timing and placement of this film, we know Infinity War is coming. I never for 1 second thought that there's anything really at stake. I mean, I know he's going to come back,
He's got
especially
that
with like, oh,
plot
he's
armor,
dead. No, he's
right?
not.
Yeah,
Of course not. Like it's just in a sense, it's somewhat predictable, but I was okay with it. It didn't really bother me. If I was going to nitpick at it, that would be one thing.
It felt very Lion King when he tossed him off the cliff.
Oh, sure was. It was super Lion King.
Well, and the dream sequences where they were, purple background. I think I posted a picture to
was great,
our little
yeah.
group chat where it was like, hey, in the Mufasa scene, same thing. Like he's talking to his father in like a dream, and it's purple in the background. I'm like, I get the ties to Africa, but I thought it was very similar in that aspect too.
I thought it was a clever Disney-ish move,
Just to tie it in a little bit.
That sequence was gorgeous. So I love the way they filmed that with the
Oh,
Panthers.
visually, it was so
Beautiful
stunning.
movie.
I will
look
say
at.
this: one of my favorite rooms was M'Baku's room, the leader of the ape clan.
Oh yeah.
Oh
It
yeah,
had all the tusks kind of lined up, and his face in the
Beautifully
cliff.
designed.
That
Yeah.
was a great,
Set
that was a
design.
great shot.
Yeah, dude.
I love that guy.
And he's actually straight from the comics too.
Yeah,
he was
Manape.
Manape. Yeah,
Yeah.
which they thought might not have been a great name
Yeah,
to throw.
I
you know,
love
on a
how they
black
actually
character at
kind
this
of
time.
utilize the ape outfit
yeah.
without being too ridiculous, because
Yeah.
he actually does wear like an ape suit, which
Right.
is
Full
absolutely like nuts. But I mean, like they actually made a practical
the
version
helmet.
of it,
They
so.
gave him the sound effects. He would beat his chest a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a great character.
He was
He had
really good.
some
I love
zinging
him.
one-liners.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, we're vegetarians.
I probably will need an army.
Yeah.
Yes, you probably
yes.
will.
My other gripe
Yeah,
ties into what you mentioned, Felix, is that with it not being so many surprises, I feel like that was kind of the problem with them showing too much previews. There was so much of the film shown, and the previews were addicting. I mean, I was more excited for this than I've been for a Marvel film in a while, but they showed so much that there wasn't anything really surprising in the film. Like, oh man, I didn't see that. Like already, they already showed me most of it, other than the main battle scene out in the plains of Wakanda with all the tribes. Everything else was kind of shown, and I was like, damn it. Like I now might change my tune and watch less previews, but I love that. It's like an instant adrenaline rush, and I need it. But
Yes.
with this, I
Especially
felt
on
like
this show.
it took from the movie a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think trailers nowadays can do that. They give a little bit too much information.
Yeah, they should
Yeah.
probably cut back.
And of course now we break them down scene by scene.
yeah.
We fan theory them to death.
Oh yeah, like as soon as the trailers drop, dude, less than 5 minutes, it's under a microscope.
But that's kind of what the show's about. So I hope you're not
what we
sick
do
of it, because we are not. Anything else on Black Panther other than it was pretty good?
Go watch it,
I loved it.
if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
see it.
Watch
Yes,
this.
go
This
watch
is a
it.
great fun movie.
yeah, stop listening to us. Go watch the movie. What's wrong with you people?
I'll only pick out like one other thing that I felt like was a little weird. Is it's the end credit scene with the mid
Yes.
one was I feel like they couldn't really decide how they wanted to end the movie, so they had two different endings, like them
Yep.
going to Congress and presenting,
Sure.
like Wakanda to the world. It's like I feel like that could have been at the end of the movie, but then they also had to do the whole going back to Oakland, buying the neighborhood to give Killmonger his full circle
Well,
story.
yeah, but
So
then
those totally could have been a perfect ending for the movie. It's like they couldn't decide on which one, so
So
they
to
had
give you both.
Yeah.
well, you think maybe they're intentionally filming scenes for end credits now? Like they
Yeah.
have 5 of them for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well,
So-
with some of them, yeah. I feel like, but this.
So
probably
maybe
could've
originally
been-
this was probably fitted at the end of
Yeah.
the film, and they're like, "Oh, this is a perfect end credit scene."
Yeah.
But still, I
agree.
still like to acknowledge Bucky as the White Wolf. That was pretty cool.
You know, I asked you this if that was a Easter egg, and it is. I looked
It
it,
is,
up.
yeah.
It is.
So yeah, White Wolf was actually a different a white man that came over, and they made him into a pseudo hero bad guy that kind of did his own thing for a while, but then would come back and help Wakanda.
Oh, okay.
So now they're folding Bucky into that character.
Do you
That's
think
cool.
maybe they're using him in place of that actual character? Like maybe he will become the White Wolf? as he
Probably,
is?
I imagine.
Black
He's supposed
Panther
to be Captain
2.
America.
Yeah. Black
Well,
Panther.
yeah, you never know.
Did you just say
Sam
coming to
Wil-
America?
No, he's supposed to be Captain America. Whoa, bro. I said he's supposed to be Captain America because when Captain America eventually dies.
Dude,
I
saw
thought
this
Falcon
hilarious-
took that up.
He did too.
That is.
Okay.
They both are.
I think that's where they're going with it.
I saw this hilarious meme on Instagram the other day where it was like a shot of an AMC ticket taker. It's like, so what can I do for you? And it's Eddie Murphy and Coming to America. It's like, you know why I'm here.
I love it. They had some good cosplay pictures up.
Oh, definitely, dude.
A lot of African tradition.
Oh yeah,
A lot of Coming to America jokes. It was good times.
Good movie.
Great movie.
Soundtrack. Listen to the soundtrack. All the stars. So good.
Did you like the soundtrack, Eddie?
I love the soundtrack.
Oh, we'll get into that
Oh my
soundtrack
God.
later.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
picked that one, obviously, Eddie, right?
No, I didn't.
Spoiler alert.
No, I didn't because I thought it was off the table.
Oh no, nothing is forbidden
why not?
here. We'll find out later.
Awesome. That's a good comic book movie. We'll jump right into comic books. All right, so let's talk comics other than Marvel and DC. Plenty of good stuff out there. A lot of independent comic producers and content out there that is worth reading. I know we've talked a little bit about Invincible.
The greatest comic of all time.
This is Robert Kirkman's other big property other than Walking Dead. It's basically what if Spider-Man had Superman's powers?
Yeah.
Kind of an awkward teenager with super strength, flight, but there's a super good twist that happens.
Like maybe 2 volumes in.
Yeah,
Completely changes.
just changes the
And,
game.
Man, it's like Superman if they ever let him be super violent, like repercussions, right? Like
Yeah.
it's so good, like uber
It's-
violent.
it's actually,
give me some
um,
details.
But I mean that
How long have they been running now?
It's now on
10
like
years?
its 13th
Or
volume, something
Yeah,
like that. It's deep. It's actually
Okay.
ending soon.
Yeah, 'cause he
it's on
said-
its last little legs here. Hopefully, it's going to be picked up for a movie or a TV series or
TV
something.
series,
It's
anything,
amazing.
please. But
Basically, this kid, his father is basically Superman, and he develops powers in his teenage years, and it's him learning how to become a hero and basically creating his own villains as he
Okay.
goes. And they're just really interesting characters.
Nice.
And then his father is from another planet, and it ends up connecting in with the old planet, and those aliens, come in and invade.
I haven't read the
I don't
whole
wanna give a
thing.
whole lot.
I've
I know,
seen
it's like
yeah.
kinda
I've seen only bits and pieces that Eddie would share with the group texting.
just the art.
But I remember the
The
artwork
artwork is amazing.
where it broke the fourth wall about reusing the same panels.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
like-
they kept looking at each other, and I was like, "Oh, that's
And
smart."
It's very cleverly written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that it uses some of those same panels, but it'll like acknowledge it, kind of break the
Yeah.
fourth wall
Yeah, yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite panels is they'll always go back to like this government building, and it'll show this long shot of the building, and then it'll close up onto a sign, and it always says parking in rear. And and they will always use the same shot to introduce this government building. Parking
That's
in rear.
hilarious.
It's so funny.
You guys have any favorite indie comic book writers?
See, I'm the basic bitch. So like before I started reading Invincible and Saga, I didn't know anything like that.
Well,
And
let me
so-
jump right into Saga. That's another great.
Yeah, I was gonna
series.
say one of my favorite writers is Brian K. Vaughan.
Brian
dude.
K. Vaughan.
Yeah, I
Go
want you
ahead.
guys to school me. No. I'm gonna say I'm the basic bitch around here because I don't know indie comics for shit. So
Oh, bro.
I need you guys to school
So-
me.
I will hand you a stack.
Yes. Start with.
Why the Last Man or Saga?
All right. So Saga, Why the Last Man, and Paper Girls. All Brian K. Vaughan. All right. He's.
fucking nerds, man.
So let me just give you a little breakdown, a little
Yes.
background. So Why the Last Man? It's about the last living male on Earth.
Yep.
He was saved by something. All right, and all the males died in the world, so he's the last surviving one.
And there's a
And it's-
Michonne-ish character.
It's not
Very
as
ma-
sexy
very
as you
close.
think.
It's really
Because I only read the first volume, but
yeah, and
it
it's his journey to cure that.
Yeah, and his best companion, like I love the fact his companion is a little monkey, aka ampersand.
He's got a monkey best friend, yes.
Yeah, like that's his companion, and his side gig was that he was a magician, but now he's like trying to save the world. There's a group Amazons they just take on. They run into like so many crazy characters throughout the series itself, and then we're talking about Saga. Man,
Oh my god.
that's like a whole new version of Star Wars.
It
like,
is.
When I read it, there's a type of alien that has a CRTV like head.
This one's hard
And
to
it's like-
explain because
Yeah, it's
there's
his-
so many different alien characters in this.
But like that's why whenever I try to describe Saga, I'm like Mos Eisley because it's a bunch of shit that's like crazy. It
It's
doesn't make sense, but
very
it
weird.
feels real and it works and it feels like Star Wars.
yeah,
And this is Saga. So who wrote Saga? You said
Brian K. Vaughan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what else is he known for? Like in the mainstream world.
the
like-
other
Lost. He wrote Lost too. He helped
Okay.
write Lost.
The other one, Paper Girls, it very much feels like
Right.
Stranger Things. It's set
Yes.
in the 80s. It follows a group of like paper boys, but only they're girls, paper girls. And they basically get...
Do we give away a little bit or not? Too
well,
much?
it's all about time travel.
Yes.
So they get kind of wrapped into this giant scheme of things with their future selves and some weird people from the future trying to kill them. And it's very much Stranger Things.
Yes,
In that feeling of the 80s.
You feel that Stranger Thing magic, and just by reading it, you get a lot of the references, a lot of the jokes,
got
or
that
a
little
lot of
The
nostalgia.
retro feel.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to it.
Nostalgia.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Like, I have a couple first volumes. I'm more than happy to loan to you, dude, to have
Sounds
you check
good.
it out. It's really good because one of those graphic novels you pick up, you start reading, and you're like, man, I can't put this down at all. You know?
So what would you say is it that really makes these comics so separate from the mainstream like comics? Like what is it that allures you guys to these comics?
The storytelling. I have to say the storytelling. It's very compelling. There's a lot of good cliffhangers. You're caught off guard constantly. Like you never stop turning the page. You never take a break. You just want to keep
You're
reading
not
it all.
expecting anything.
Yeah.
Like from Marvel, you know the characters, you know kind of what the
A
storylines
formula.
are going to
Yeah,
do.
Marvel has the formula. DC has
like
the formula.
In Saga, you have no idea what's going to be on the next page.
You think in your mind you're reading it. You're like, nah, they're not gonna do that. And boom, you're like, what the hell just happened? I'm trying to remember. It's published by IDW, right?
No, Image.
No, Image for that one. I was going to
Image?
cover
Okay.
some of the indie
Okay.
publishers. In a
Okay,
minute,
okay.
But
Have you guys ever read The Boys?
The Boys, yeah, I was going to cover that one
That's
too.
the one that's becoming a show. I think
Yeah,
you
we
said,
covered
right?
this one kind of a little bit.
I'm
In,
kind of scared
comics to shows.
because I don't want them to ruin that. Like The Boys is so good.
Well,
I don't want to ruin
You
it.
said this is going to be done by Goldberg and Seth Rogen. So is this take place in the same universe as Preacher, or is this sort of its
Not
own
the same
thing?
universe, no, but the same writer exactly.
Okay.
This was Garth Ennis, wrote both Preacher and The Boys. Both excellent comics, very fucked up comics though.
I've seen some of Preacher,
So
some
they're a little
weird
graphic,
shit.
but the story is just so well written and different than anything you've seen before. Preacher is kind of a combination of a western plus Pulp Fiction. You know,
Some weird horror elements.
yeah,
It's Western Pulp Fiction mixed with a little bit of religion.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah. There's also
Religion,
some
mythology.
Yes,
some
yes.
God and the Devil play there. So
Yeah, definitely. Very creative. And then best way to sum up The Boys is if superheroes were to be put in check, right? That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, I
they
remember
didn't
you
know
guys
what they
telling
were
us.
doing, and the government had to basically run them. This was what happened. So, yeah.
Just remember, there's a hamster involved.
Oh God.
I wanted to cover some of the publishers. One of my favorite is Image Comics.
Yes.
Because they give their creators so much leeway. When you send in your comic to Image, you retain all
The rights?
copyrights and rights for
Nice.
your comic.
Yeah.
So they don't own your comic, the characters or anything like that. They just
It was started by Todd McFarlane, wasn't it?
yeah,
Or, like, one
Image
of the-
Comics was originally founded by 7 key members of Marvel. It broke off. The big names, obviously,
McFarlane.
McFarlane's, thank you. Creator of Spawn came out. Rob Liefeld created Deadpool. Jim Lee, one of my favorite artists
Jim
of all
Lee,
time.
man. He's so amazing.
He was like the golden child of Marvel back in the day. He was known for that 90s X-Men comics that became like
His art
the
look,
car- that
like
the
you know
cartoons
that's
were
Jim Lee's
so
drawing right away.
And there was a couple other names that I can't remember at this point, but they split off from Marvel because they weren't happy with how their characters, they didn't have control of their
Yeah.
characters.
Like Marvel and DC, they have hundreds of issues. I don't know. You get
Where to
lost.
start
Things
or
are going
what art to
places,
go.
whatever.
Oh, and
But-
then there's the rebirth
Yeah,
or
the-
the
Or
relaunch.
they have to delete everything and start over, whatever. But like, I go straight to Image, and like, they have those free handouts, and
Yep.
you get the first comic for free. You check it out. Like, so many of my comics are just Image comics because they're just so different. Like, Invincible. Like everyone who's listening to this, go read Invincible.
You think you know the typical superhero,
Especially
comic,
the
but-
beginning.
but this
You're
is
gonna
so good.
it's gonna feel like a very typical superhero story, but then the end of volume 2, you're gonna be like, what the shit just happened?
and it compels you to keep reading.
Yeah,
When you say volumes, Eddie, is this then a weekly publication that then ends up getting to put into like
Yeah,
a
the-
graphic novel of
yeah. The
all
trade, the trade, or they call
Trade
trademarks
paperbacks.
or trade. Yeah,
Okay.
Just a quick rundown of a couple other really good ones. East of West. It's like this crazy futuristic take on death and the horsemen. And basically these warring factions of people that still live in this apocalyptic world. It is just insane.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. Another one, it's called Birthright. Basically, a kid doesn't have any clue of what's going on, but his father becomes the savior of these people in another kind of mystical world and comes back to Earth to recruit him. But the twist is he never actually saved the world. He became the bad guy.
Oh,
shit.
shoot!
So he comes and he recruits his son, and all this kind of shit goes down.
So everything starts falling apart.
And he kind of
Nice.
They go into this other world.
You
and
already got me hooked, bro. You already got me hooked.
That it's actually, I believe, just got picked up for a show.
Okay.
So look for that one, Birthright.
Okay.
Another one called Sex Criminals.
I've heard of this.
It's
one,
so-
actually.
I might have.
It's so funny. This one, I haven't read it, but the breakdown is these Bonnie and Clyde type criminals that when they have sex and they orgasm, time stops.
Yes, I heard about that
I've
one.
seen some of the artwork. It's vulgar.
It's interesting.
Dirty stuff.
That's interesting.
Heard great things about it though. Maybe check that one out if you're interested.
For I think IDW Dark Horse, they released a series I was reading that was really good, Lock and Key.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that shit was
I read the
fucked up.
first couple of that. That was pretty interesting.
Okay, what's that one about?
The kids come into this house and they open all these different doors that lead to different places, and it's horror, but it's a good horror. Like, I don't want to give away too much.
There is a horror one that I read, Witches, I think it's called.
Okay.
I think it's an Image comic, and
With a Y, I believe.
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Witches.
I read, and it did like I thought like it could have been like a movie, like that first volume or whatever it was. I read.
It was like a
Like,
screenplay.
Like it had like a beginning, middle, end. And I was like,
As
the way
they
it
all
ended,
should.
like I mean,
As they all-
but no, like I was like
I
a
hope if you're writing a story that
like
has
a conclusion that could have ended like a series or something, and I was just like, and that was like the first comic, and I was like, what the? I never gone back to it because comics are expensive, as we've already said. But go ahead, Ganya.
I was just thinking. I mean, I'm kind of curious with all the, all the plethora of names that you guys just mentioned. I mean, a lot of these stories sound amazing, and I wonder why more film studios aren't trying to tap, the creator of these to make a film out of it. Like, they're struggling so much for
original content.
Yeah, that we're remaking Spider-Man four times now, and we're redoing so many different films that have already been done before. Like, why not pick stories? I guess I admit, I'm like Felix, I didn't really have a list of ones that I've checked out before, but I did some research, and I'm like, the more I went into the ones that Image is putting out or Dark Horse is putting out, I'm like, wow, this would make a great movie. Like, this would be amazing. Like, who wouldn't watch this? Like, you can do these things now because of special effects. Like, take the chance, spend $50 million and make a good story and see what happens.
I think it's possible. The only problem is that we run into a situation where the studio steps in and they add in their ideas and they fuck it up.
That's totally true.
That's the thing I'm worried about.
Something like Dark Tower.
Yeah, because like if you read a property and you really love it, but then to see it be fucked up on a TV show or a movie, it kind of disheartens you. Kind of hurts your feelings a little bit. But I was gonna say, for graphic novels, if you guys ever want a good deal, I always buy mine from Amazon because I can always get it at least $5 to $6 cheaper. And there's always sales going on too on Amazon. So just want you guys to know.
Oh, yeah. No, straight up. Just going to a comic book shop, some of the compendiums that I bought for Walking Dead, so much cheaper online. Like, straight up. Dude. These things are like 30
I feel bad though. I almost want to support those small, support those mom and pop stores still.
They need to be competitive.
Fucking A. It's just so expensive.
That's how capitalism works.
Eddie dropping knowledge.
The compendium, like, no, I definitely don't want to get into that topic.
It's a
The
different show.
compendium that I bought, on the back of it, it said $100, but I got it for $43 or $44 on Amazon.
Well,
so
I mean, that's a deal. Yeah.
Which one was that?
the Invincible, the last. There's probably another one now, but yeah, I was gonna say one of the comics that I really want to get back to. I don't know if it ever finished or whatever, but it's called Secret Identities, and it's about like a superhero group like the Avengers in this world, right? It's an Image, so it's not like any known superheroes,
Yeah.
but one of the people that they invite into the group is a mole. Like, he's a villain, and his whole purpose for joining is to take him out from the inside. And it's crazy how how they get with all the heroes and how they all kind of act shady almost.
Yeah.
What's this one called?
Secret Identities.
Interesting.
It's one of those ones.
And
that
the mole,
really want to
he's-
go back.
He's working for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to break up the group from the
Yep.
inside. I like it.
Love it.
Man, we are so nerdy.
There's so many comic books out there. There's tons that I still want to mention.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But,
Hey,
go
there's
check
a
some of
little
those
indie
out.
one that you may not have heard of. The character's name is Deadpool. You should definitely support that character.
I think it's kind of sold out at this point. right, well, for me being the basic comic book bitch, give me 5 to go check out. If you're going to sell me on indie comics, tell me 5 that I need to go see.
Okay.
Or need to go read.
Cool. I would say Invincible.
Okay.
I would say East of West. I would say Saga. I would say Birthright. And I would say Paper Girls.
Okay. I can dig
I don't know those last two, but those first three are awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can take me shopping. Help me find some comics. And they're still on continuous publication right now, or any of these?
Invincible will be ending soon.
Invincible's
because
ending soon.
It's supposed to be,
like right at the
like
end.
a thing, making kind of teasing comics. So he was like, "You're not really making fun of comics if you just go on forever." So
He wanted to have an ending.
Yeah, he wanted an ending.
Okay.
Well, we got some homework to do, Felix.
Sure do.
Absolutely. Both of you guys.
I'm on vacation soon.
No,
so
you
gotta
guys are
take a
going to
stack
love
of
all
these with
those.
me.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for the
Invincibles.
listeners that are tuning in, Marvel and DC is cool for the mainstream, but if you guys want to, man, venture out into the world of comic book shop and just pick one up and try it out. You'll never know. what
Marvel's
you jump
great
into.
for short story arcs. Some are good, some are bad. They'll change them up. That's fine.
They're like-
Find ones you like.
they throw
like
spaghetti
House
at
of
the
M.
wall.
Find a House of M. That's great.
Yeah.
For a continuous, awesome story that has a beginning and an end,
Yeah.
go check out these indie comics. They're really
And for
they're really
my
spectacular.
weeaboos, Invincible is like a superhero who's based off of Goku, and Goku is based off of Superman. So there's your anime connection.
Who wins that battle royale?
Do you
I
want
don't want to get into it.
to recommend any
That's a whole nother
mangas?
show.
Manga? Man, I don't know. There's like so many going through my head right now.
Let's save that for another.
Yeah, some of
That-
them.
that
Right.
could be a
Yeah.
topic.
We can do manga.
Let me do some research again.
Exactly. So sometimes to expand on a good thing or flesh out a deeper part of the story, you get a big budget film that becomes a TV show. We got a huge list of goods and bads. As of last week, we're just going to kind of go around the table and give you our opinions on some. I'm just going to start it out with a good one, Westworld. We covered this.
Yeah.
last season.
Excellent.
Season 2's coming
Cross
out.
that off my list.
Yes. It was originally a movie. I think it was in the 40s or 50s, something back in the day.
You
I
went
had to
too
look
old.
it
It was
up.
the 70s.
Is
It
it?
was the 70s, yeah. It was in
And
color.
fun fact, it was actually written and directed by the guy who created Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton.
Nice.
Well, no.
Ooh,
There you
nice.
go. Fun fact I didn't know. That's one good one coming out. What else you guys got on your lists? I'll just.
I'm
hand
gonna
it
jump
off.
in. If that's cool with you guys. I wrote down For the Good, because we're doing just good ones for now, right?
Sure.
For the Good, I wrote down Lethal Weapon. It's a most recent TV show.
That's debatable.
Hey man, for me, I have fun. I enjoy it. It's good cast, good
I
writing.
do enjoy their interactions with each other.
It is hilarious.
I don't know. I only got through a couple episodes. Maybe I
That-
need to
that's
get
your
further
fault.
into it, but
Really?
I don't know.
I was actually watching the original Lethal Weapon the other night.
I mean, yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I love it.
I love that movie.
I also wrote down both versions of the first one, La Femme Nikita, the one from back in day on USA,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
most recent one, Nikita, that was on WB, CW. And then I wrote down, of course, the classic, which is Ash versus Evil Dead on
Yes.
Stars.
Oh my God,
It is
that show
hilarious.
so good.
And then, of course, my classic as a teen was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy. Probably
Yeah.
one of the best on the list. I think that lasted multiple seasons.
Oh
It was,
yeah,
you
she
know,
she went to college. They
Got
followed her from
spin-offs,
high school off to
spin-offs,
college
Spin-offs.
with Angel.
Yep.
I loved that movie.
I never
too.
watched
It was
it. I
such, like,
love that
it was
movie.
so like
I think I
original
was
in the 90s. I don't know.
6 or 7 the first time I saw that movie. Fucking hilarious. I still love it today.
Dude, it blew my mind when I found out that was Pee Wee Herman. I was like, "What?
Wait, in what show?
That's Pee Wee
That's the
Herman?"
bad guy, right?
Buffy.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And
Buffy,
Buffy.
the
Yeah.
movie.
Funny story.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of these.
Oh my.
Really?
Okay, I never
Sure
watched
haven't.
the show, or
seen the
I would
movie?
catch every
Nope.
episode every once in a while, but the show never interested me. But the movie, go watch the movie.
Movie's
The
hilarious.
movie is good. What else you got, Sam? Anything on the good list?
I also wrote down Limitless. It was a small.
Oh, my
It,
God.
it only lasted one season.
That's on my bad list, bro.
It was funny,
I
dude.
heard
No,
good
it
things
was-
about it. I never watched it, but
There was
my
there
friend
was a
said
reason why it
good.
was only one season. All right.
Oh, I know that, but I thought it was pretty funny and witty the way they wrote it.
Didn't Bradley Cooper actually make an appearance in this?
For
He did, and he
three,
couldn't
3 to
save
4
it.
episodes. What about you? What you got for good list?
So I was gonna ask, can we include animated stuff?
Sure, throw it out there.
Sure.
I loved the Black Dynamite animated show that came
Yes, I actually was gonna write that down, bro.
If there's no other episodes you watch, you have to watch the one with Richard Pryor. Keeps calling him the funny man. It's great. Beetlejuice. I used to love that cartoon.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, I had that on my list too.
Yes.
I have nothing else to
Good one.
contribute. So you guys can just do this
Taking all of your
yourselves.
stuff.
It's like what little I had to contribute. Good, thanks, Eddie. So let us hang out.
Ash vs. Evil Dead is probably my favorite because
Oh, so cheesy.
Army of
and
Darkness
he's
is
into
still
it.
probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I can always watch that movie.
Dude,
so when they
still never seen
announced
it.
that, I was like, oh. And yeah,
And it's also on Netflix right now too.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons. But when you watch it, like every episode, there's at least 5 gallons of blood just being thrown at him, just over and over.
I'll just jump in here.
Go ahead, yeah.
I had Highlander. The
oh, that's
yes.
right. I did
So
love that
good.
show.
I loved
Adrian
it.
Paul.
Never watched the series.
So good.
I was gonna ask you for when you watch a Highlander as a kid, right, on the TV show.
Yeah.
Did it blow your mind when Christopher Lambert actually showed up from time to time?
I loved.
Dude, that was so crazy.
What was it? Endgame, the movie.
Yes.
When they brought the two together.
Oh, dude.
That was awesome. It was probably it was one of those guilty pleasure movies. Right there.
I think I remember the trailer for that if I remember right, but I never watched Highlander.
No, the TV show.
The Highlander.
No.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
It's so good.
You gotta watch
just
Highlander.
woke
What
up
the
90s drama. Yeah.
You gotta watch Highlander. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. As I'm going through like the list, like I said, I've got nothing else to contribute because I haven't seen a lot of this shit. I'm really looking
Okay,
at it.
normally those knockoff shows off of
A lot of them are just bad, so
like,
we're still on the good list.
the kids cartoon movies or whatever. But Kung Fu Panda came out with one, and me and Kelly watched like 2 seasons of that. That was on Hulu or Netflix or something like that. We were like, oh, really?
And it was awesome. I'm
You were
with
watching
you.
with
yeah.
Nathan?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, sure.
It was like SpongeBob SquarePants. You watch that with kids too?
I don't go see
Actually,
kids'
that's
movies
his
without my
favorite,
kids.
person.
Another one I loved in the 90s was Weird Science. It was
Yes,
probably like
bro.
4 or 5
it was
seasons.
So
The show was
good.
like-
It was like
remember
directly
watching that.
from the
That was
movie,
funny.
pretty much. That's just
Yeah.
that weird kind of 80s
The weekly
humor.
episode of,
Yeah.
oh, what trouble they're getting into now.
Yeah. Stargate SG-1. I loved
True.
the movie was awesome, but the series, and they had so many spin-offs, had
Atlantis.
awesome characters. They had MacGyver was the freaking
The main lead.
the main lead guy. So good. What
We
else?
have to mention Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so
Oh,
that we don't
absolutely.
get stabbed.
Yes, because
Yes.
obviously it was an amazing movie.
Oh,
At least the first one.
The first one, and then that animated show was my
Probably the best,
TMNT.
right?
Yeah.
Didn't the show come out before the movie though?
Let's ask the Google.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
No,
feel
the
like
show
we need to
did come
Google
out
that. I
before the
thought that
movie.
the cartoon
Cartoon
was
came out
before the
movie.
movie.
Yeah, it did.
Whatever.
The comic was before the movie.
Comic
Yes.
was before the movie.
The
I
cartoon
wanna
show was
say
before the movie.
The cartoon might have been before the movie.
Because the
Oh,
cartoon
yeah.
was the
Okay,
pushing
right.
drive
We-
to sell toys.
Well, in that case, we should have included it last week, but still awesome either way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think we actually did.
You know what?
include
We can
it
might-
just
last
we
week.
might-
mention
we might.
TMNT
Just anyway.
like every
Just go watch
episode.
Right.
all of the 90s.
Just Ninja
What
Turtles
about you?
all day,
What about you,
every
Gotti?
day.
What's on your good list? Give us your goodies.
Well, I'm like Felix. I had to cross off like 3 of my 6, but I wrote down a bunch because I was like, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to name the same stuff. But I'm surprised you guys did not say Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Because
Oh,
that technically
Well-
was a movie.
Man, don't do
Kind
that
of
to
just
me.
a redoing of just a character. I wouldn't consider that based off the movie because nobody wants
it's
that.
Not based. That was not.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
true.
it was movies that were made into TV shows, and
well.
technically,
And the TV show
it
is
was
way
a-
better than the
Property
movie.
that failed as a movie became a show,
But-
so sure. Because you could say the same about Punisher then.
Exactly. Sure, that's fine.
There you go.
Let's
Put
just
throw it on
throw
the
all
list.
the Marvel TV
That-
shows in there. You know?
Well, some other ones I was reading. Did anybody see Minority Report? I guess that was
it
a
was
show.
terrible.
That was horrible.
I'm waiting for the
That's
bad
on my bad
episode
list.
to go.
Oh, okay, sorry. See, I'm just reading shit now because I have nothing.
You're fired. You're fired, Flex.
Before I forget.
Hold on.
Oh,
What
go
else
ahead.
you have
Sorry,
on you?
Chris.
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights was actually a really good show.
I loved the show.
It was-
I mean, I didn't finish it,
No,
but
I-
I mean,
I
the
got
first
about
3 or 4.
Yes. 3 or 4
Yeah,
seasons.
it was good.
It was-
It was. I love Kyle Chandler. He was supposed to be Cable.
Right.
Something happened. I was very upset.
No,
He-
No.
Josh Brolin's fine. That's fine. I just like Kyle Chandler a lot. Watch Bloodline if you haven't. Trust me, this guy's amazing. And then the last one I had was the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I'm probably in the minority about,
Ooh,
but
that was a good one, bro.
I
honestly.
I enjoyed it.
Actually, that
It was
wasn't bad.
not.
I watched most of it. I agree with you. That was good.
It was short lived. It had Summer Glau from Firefly.
Yep, see, I
enjoyed it.
I was going to say, unfortunately, it had Summer
Fox
Glau
canceled
because
it.
then every one of her shows gets canceled.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was because it's Fox.
Yeah.
Fox always
Fox
screws
doesn't
everything
like
up.
their sci-fis,
Fox
man.
canceled
Yeah.
it, dude.
Lena
It was so
Headey
stupid.
was also Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
That's right,
Cersei
yeah.
Lannister.
I wish we had, what was it, only like 2 seasons?
Yeah, it was
I
only
think
2
so, yeah.
seasons, bro.
Yeah.
Such a
Too
good
bad.
show.
Anybody a fan of Wet Hot American Summer? Because I've seen that and that's some weird shit.
I have
guess
not.
That was the movie first, and then that became a Netflix series.
Yeah, the
I haven't
series I
watched
didn't
it,
like.
I can't really give commentary. Just watch it. It's super weird.
It's definitely weird.
Very ridiculous.
Should we go into
I-
the realm of bad?
Wait, one.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
Okay,
I
wait.
don't know if it's good or bad because I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I'll judge.
But the real Ghostbusters.
Yes, it's
cartoon.
good.
Oh,
Nope, it's good. It's good.
No, that's
good, bro.
My entire childhood right there.
The cartoon was awesome.
Yes.
Remember I told you the real Ghostbusters is now available on Netflix.
Oh, is
It
it?
is.
And when I
Oh.
watched it, dude, Netflix didn't even edit. It still had that bad running VHS
Yeah.
look on the sides, and I love Netflix even more for it
Yes.
because there'll be scenes when you're watching the cartoon. Some parts are really, really bright, and some parts are dim, and I'm like, perfect. I feel like I'm back in the '80s. Just give me a bowl of my Ninja Turtle cereals, and I'm good.
God, I love Ghostbusters.
Got cooler high C.
Marshmallows, man, they're the best.
I think we mentioned this on the last show, but Blade,
Oh
the
yeah.
TV
It's on the
series,
bad.
Yeah, it's on the bad list.
It's on my
Still
bad
talking
list.
Good shows. 'Cause
We'll jump into the bad. So Blade with Sticky Fingers. He was a rapper at the time. I think they actually made 2 seasons.
you enjoy
here.
saying that name way too much.
It's
just
kind of a
really
cool
weird.
name. I don't
know.
know.
It's a nice name.
It reminds me of Home Alone, the Sticky Finger Bandits.
Oh yeah.
No, they're the wet bandits,
they're the
and then
wet
they became the
bandits.
sticky bandits.
Oh, well, thank you.
Sorry, I don't mean to be that guy. but just get your shit right.
Thanks for contributing, Flex. Thanks for
I
contributing.
got nothing else to contribute, so yeah, I'm just here to commentate.
What's on your bad list, Gagne? Give it to us. Give us your bad.
Oh man, I honestly didn't write a lot down. There were a couple of ones that I was like, well, this probably should go on there, but I honestly don't remember like watching. That's the thing is like you look at this list and there's so many of them that were done that you're like they're forgettable. Or you didn't
One
watch
season,
them because
two
they looked so
season, one
bad to
season.
begin.
Yeah.
They did a Friday the 13th series that had nothing to do with Jason. You're like, why am I watching
I think
this?
I
Like
remember that.
yeah, it just there was stuff that I couldn't believe that was made Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, My Big Fat Greek Life. There was just things that like, no, I'm skipping
I'm gonna name
this. I'm
one.
skipping this.
I don't know if anyone remembers this, but RoboCop. It was a short-lived
show?
live-action TV
Yeah.
show, and the effects were so bad. They were so bad. It made me mad
Is
as a
this a Spike
fan.
TV thing?
No, this is like
before that?
this is like during the Highlander days
Oh.
of TV shows, and then there's one for The Crow. It bummed me out because I like The Crow the movie,
Wow.
but when it turned to TV show, it was so gloomy and so like crap ass storyline. I was like, I can't do this.
Ooh, wait, I got one. But yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be good. Hannibal.
Hannibal was actually amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
good.
I love that.
I should
Very
wrote
good.
that. I should wrote that.
People
down.
love that.
Realize
I didn't
how
even think
little
about
TV I
that.
watch now.
I've never seen it either, so.
Bates Motel.
Bates Motel. I actually wrote down. Yeah,
Heard it was good.
Yeah, I heard
But
it was
Bates
good.
Didn't see
Motel
it.
was a good storyline. But I was gonna say Hannibal. It's excellent. Like if you like that guy's style, because he did American Gods, but with Hannibal, the only thing is when you watch that show, try not to snack or eat anything, because
Might be coming back up.
yeah, big time.
and probably skip season 3. It was kind of I don't know.
Yeah, season 3 was
First-
kind of last ditch effort.
Yeah, they knew they were being canceled, and so they kind of wrapped it up in a like we want to do all these things in 12 episodes, and it just wasn't as good as the first
No
2
flow.
seasons.
No.
Yeah,
However, what's her name from X Files? Was pretty
Gillian
hot.
Anderson.
Oh,
Gillian
she
Anderson
was so hot in that show.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Sam likes
yeah.
the
So was
redheads.
what was the Caroline Danvers or whatever the other girl, the other psychiatrist in
Yes.
the show. She was fantastic too.
yes,
And gotta love Mads. Mads Mikkelsen's my hero.
Dude.
Love that guy.
oh man, his accent's so good. I wrote down.
Just another plug for Rogue One.
I didn't.
Sorry.
I'm not going that far. I'm not going that far. I'm throwing back. You ruined our moment. You
Dial
ruined
it
our
down,
moment.
dial it
guy.
down, Gagne.
That's okay. Tell me how.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
Because it's the best Star Wars movie to come out in
But,
quite a while.
Made me
There's-
throw up
there's-
in my mouth a little bit right there.
There's 2 more I wrote down for the bad side, which was Transporter, the TV series. Only lasted
Ooh.
2 seasons.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
And
that.
then Dominion, which was based
Oh, I
on
had that on my list,
Legion.
dude.
That thing was no bueno
Legion?
on Sci-Fi.
You remember the one about angels coming down and basically
Taking over Earth.
taking over,
Yeah,
and being
I
like
know what you're
devilish
talking about.
kind
Yeah,
of.
that one was weird.
Well, they made a TV show called
They made a-
Dominion.
Really?
Yeah,
They
it
made a
lasted-
TV show
Why?
based on that weird movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it was no bueno.
Exactly. It's
Dude, it's
that movie
sci-fi.
was
It was
Don't-
on the
don't try
Sci-Fi
anything.
Channel, dude.
Oh, damn.
That'll tell you right there.
I'm going to
Wait.
predict right now for bad TV shows.
Krypton.
Oh,
Jinx, you almost soda.
This is the second high
You
five
can't
of the
judge
show.
it yet. It's not even out.
Fucking nerds.
this is the guy talking about anime and manga.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, my God.
One last thing on my list was Lord of the Rings. They're making that into a TV show.
Oh,
Fingers
yeah.
crossed,
Guys,
bro.
I mean,
Fingers crossed.
Is
Oh,
it? I
fingers
hope so
crossed,
because they're not basing it on the Silmarillion. They're not basing it on the trilogy.
No, it's going to be
So
a new take.
Is
so,
this an original story and set in the realm, or is this like
as
a
far as I know,
retelling?
it's just a retelling.
Oh, so it's the same thing, just
I think.
for the modern
Not sure
audience.
exactly.
'Cause
I
that
don't
was
care.
so long ago.
It's gonna
since
be
we
amazing.
Lord of the Rings.
It has been a while.
It's gonna be amazing. Doesn't matter what it is.
Okay, sure.
I'm not excited.
Even
Not
if it's just,
excited.
even if it's just Gandalf getting stoned for the next 3 episodes, it'll be amazing.
Should have did the Silmarillion. It's all written.
I don't know. Can you explain? What do you mean?
It's how everything
You're a
starts.
nerd.
They can
You're a nerd.
they can skip all the Bible talk
He just
and
rocked
then
you.
get right into the elves and the.
It doesn't matter what you think.
I
is
never
rude.
claimed that I wasn't a nerd. It was fucking nerdy that you both said the same thing at the same time and then proceeded to high five each other.
But I gave you high fives throughout the night too.
Yes,
Oh.
I know.
Not during the show, though. Okay. Wait, so I had some other shows I was curious. Did anybody watch From Dusk Till Dawn?
Nope.
Okay.
I actually have
it was
seen a couple
okay.
episodes.
It was
It's not
okay.
as it's not as good as it's actually a retelling of the movie.
Yeah.
So
And somehow it's extended to like 3 seasons now.
Exactly.
How do you do that?
Uh-huh.
What about Uncle Buck? Did anyone watch that?
I didn't even see
Love
the movie.
Which one
You
was
never
that?
Oh, the
seen
movie's amazing.
Never seen Uncle
Never, yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh my god! How are we on a podcast?
Whoa. That
I
range
used to
is
watch
for
all the
flex
John.
only.
I used
you
to
can
watch
joke
all those
this time.
John
Wait,
Candy
which one was-
movies when I was a kid.
Oh,
loves
okay,
John
John
Candy.
Candy. That's okay. Now
John Candy's
I still
fucking
didn't see it.
amazing.
He's a mom.
Macaulay Culkin, first movie.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. John Candy and freaking Jamaican bobsled.
Cool
Cool
running.
Runnings.
Cool Runnings.
We
did
did
talk
our
about it
Olympic
last
talk,
week.
and that did not go well.
Did not go well.
That was the best though. Like
I still
Hey.
have not watched any of the Olympics.
The
to
best
be
part
honest.
about last week's episode was Adam's editing skills. Okay, all that silent air was killed thanks to Adam.
The trivia was.
We should have added cricket chirp it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The
I had a
Jeopardy theme
soundboard.
song or something.
One of these days.
We are working
We'll
on
have a
some sound
soundboard.
effects, yes.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Damn you, Trebek.
well.
Damn you.
Yeah, so I don't have any other shows. That's
Oh,
all.
did anyone watch Beastmaster, the TV show, as a kid?
yes.
I
No,
loved.
I watched the
Olympic-
movie.
The movies were great.
the movies are awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a show.
Yes, there was one for
Yeah,
Beastmaster.
for a
It
while.
was around the same time that Renegade was on.
Oh,
It was
Renegade. Lorenzo
Oh,
Lamas.
bro.
Renegade.
I
Is that
love watching
Lorenzo
it as a
Lamas?
kid, dude.
I didn't like watching it, but I didn't get to choose what was on the TV.
Exactly. I didn't have a choice. I had to watch it. I was like, all right, I'll just enjoy it.
Just a cool ass biker dude.
Good callback.
So one of the best things about Black Panther was the soundtrack. Obviously, Eddie was a huge fan, right? Eddie.
Yes.
He gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5. He wants, the intro music to be like his theme song
Yep.
whenever he walks into the doorway, So we're going to pick our best movie soundtrack, and we're going to argue it
That
one
we
by
like.
one, that we
Yeah.
like, our personal favorite one. And we're just going to kind of argue our point up to a minute or whatever.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a timeline. So, or time.
Felix, go ahead.
Oh,
Give me
okay.
a little more explanation here.
Okay, so yeah, no, just for fun, we're going to just make this simple presentation as to what we feel is the best soundtrack. Whether it actually is or not, we're going to try to convince you why you reconsider, Eddie. So yeah, just to make it fun, give us a little bit of a put us on the spot. I'm going to give us a minute each to state our case. And then once all is said and done, then you guys, you the audience, can go ahead and pick.
Why
who
do you enjoy
feel
us
is the
fighting
best.
each other so much?
I don't know. Apparently, you guys like seeing me get mad, and
Doesn't mean you have to we can always argue, just bring up BVS and Star Wars.
it's fun. No, it's just fun.
Episode 10 is going to be our BBS episode, so
Just stay
we're going to get
tuned.
to that.
It's coming one day. We're gonna
End up with only 2 people on the podcast, or 3, depending on which side and
To the
murders
death.
the other side.
spoiler alert, we're gonna win. Anyways, so yeah, so
Spoiler alert.
Everybody has a minute. State your case, and then once all is said and done, you folks have a week to listen, and then go ahead and vote on who you feel is actually right.
Maybe look them up. Maybe listen to it.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
Or what your favorite was.
All right.
Or
Who
just
wants to
give
go
the best
first?
argument.
I think I should go first because mine's going to be probably short.
Go ahead. Give it to us, Eddie.
Perfect.
So, okay, go ahead and state what you actually picked, and then
I
I'll go ahead and
picked
start your timer.
A Knight's Tale.
Okay,
Nice.
interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go
I
ahead
do
and
love that movie.
Start the timer.
One of
Go
my
ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a minute starting now.
Okay, so I really like this soundtrack because it's like a old style fantasy movie, right? But like Earth Knights or whatever, and but it has like the modern music, the rock. You know, it's got Queen, of course, We Are the Champions, all this stuff that just normally wouldn't fit, and a lot of people would probably call out the movie for having these kind of songs in the film, and so that's why I love the soundtrack for this movie because it's different than what you would expect for a movie like that.
A time period.
The time
piece,
period,
right?
yeah. And so, and I fucking love it. So that's my argument for A Knight's Tale.
You still have 20 seconds, so I'll give you some more time.
Okay, cool.
So I'll interview you. Give me a song example. Give me what's a big song that stands out.
We Will Rock You. It's like literally the opening song where the crowd starts pounding their feet on the benches and the guards are banging their spears and stuff like that.
5 seconds.
And okay, that's it. That's good.
You got one song. That's it,
Hey,
right?
I got one song. There's a whole
All
soundtrack.
right.
Go look it
Yeah,
up.
look it up.
Okay, fine. I didn't realize homework was involved.
I don't know all the song tracks and titles to mine either, but mine's Mortal Kombat.
Oh shit! Okay.
Um,
Ready?
Oh.
And minute starting now.
I won't need a minute really, but I felt like every track in that movie was just so well suited to the choreography of it, and just every song was a little bit different than the others on the CD, back in the day. I could go track by track and just the hype and the adrenaline it would give you, made me want to like kung fu fight.
Like it amps you up.
I remember, literally fighting my brother in the living room with pillows, to the soundtrack. It was just, I don't know, one of my favorite of all time. It just brought me to that level. I don't know. What I got?
You still got 30 seconds, but yeah,
Cool.
No, I agree with you. That's a very high energy.
That's a
very
good
entertaining
choice, bro.
soundtrack. That
It
theme
just-
song
It would always
that's-
just bring me to a level that I just wanted to.
They had their own song, right? The Mortal Kombat song, where it like said people in the characters
Yeah,
from Mortal
introduced
Kombat
everybody.
into it. You know,
Oh,
it was
dude,
fucking great.
that was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would put that as iconic sounding as like something as Star Wars is familiar.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
will recognize that right away.
Yeah.
What's
That's
yours,
what-
Flex?
Okay, so I'll state mine real quick. So I went with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. So
Nice. That's a good one.
So, anyways, yeah, the reason I chose this album was because to me, this is more than just a soundtrack. It's just as much a part of the movie as any one of those main characters. This music really transcends just being a supporting part. Just having one known song, it really does play a key role in the entire movie. From the first trailer where you have fucking "Hooked on a Feeling" by Blue Suede. Like everybody knew that song right away. All the way to Baby Groot dancing to "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Those are just such familiar scenes. I would actually put the scene Peter Quill dancing to "Come and Get Your Love" as like one of the more iconic like visual musical things. I would put that up there with Reservoir Dogs and like with Pulp
Yep.
Fiction and with any John Travolta dancing in Saturday Night Fever. It's just as iconic. And what's cool about the music also, it's a lot of classic music that everybody should still acknowledge, and this generation gets a chance to hear it and actually enjoy it and not look at it as something so cheesy.
Yeah, this generation should listen to good music.
Yeah,
for
Peter
once.
Quill has basically become the big brother for this generation of kids, with the awesome, record collection that he gets to share with everybody, and that's a great thing.
It was a great choice.
Agreed. That music was really folded into that movie as part of the.
It's a really
story
good
dynamic,
compilation.
yes.
Like all the music, James Gunn did a great job picking the playlist.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of iconic music on there. It's a lot of stuff that I grew up with also. So it's like I said, it's cool that it's presented
Oh, yeah,
in a way
definitely.
for a lot of kids nowadays to be able to appreciate it and not look at it as corny old music. It's more to it than just that.
What about you, Gagne?
Well, that's something to be said about a film like Guardians, where certain songs now will remind you of that scene where he's playing, fooled around and fell in love with Gamora, and you have that interaction with them. When you can do that with a soundtrack, when you can take songs that are already well known outside of the realm of the movie and then tie them into a film that will make you draw back on that film, that's talent. Like that's a really well produced soundtrack where we want to sell the soundtrack, but at the same time we want to make sure that this ties into memories of the movie for you. And for me, it went to Garden State.
Oh.
I actually had to withdraw. I initially submitted Boogie Nights to Chai, and then I had to withdraw and say, no, wait, I forgot that for me, Garden State had so much feeling involved to the soundtrack for me, that every time I put a song on, I was like, man, I remember that movie. I remember going to see that movie multiple times. I remember the feeling it gave me at certain spots, whether it was, they have multiple Shins songs on that album, which I absolutely love the Shins. And then, Coldplay, the song that they played at the end was by a group called Frou Frou. Ooh. Definitely look her up. She's very talented. I think the lead singer's name's Imogen Heap, I think is what it is. But there's so many songs on that just draw back to my memory of the movie and how I felt in the movie, that I need a soundtrack like that kind of makes me get those feelings again that the movie gave me. So that. My pick was Garden State. There's all kinds of good stuff on that. Simon and Garfunkel.
Very nice.
There you go.
I'm gonna have
Just a little bit
to
of
watch
everything.
that movie again. I remember really liking it, but I only
so
saw it
good.
the
I
one
remember
time.
that was a
So
good one.
good.
Yeah.
I remember that soundtrack too. I remember that Frou Frou song. I don't remember what it's called, but I remember that one particularly
Let
standing
Go.
out.
Let Go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it was
Let
called
Go,
Let Go,
yes.
and it was such a good ending. It was the song
Yeah.
they played right at the end of the movie, right before the credits rolled, and you're just like, oh, this is perfect.
Oh, good choice. Oh,
So,
good job, man. That was a deep cut.
That was good.
Sam, I think you got
Thanks.
it last, right?
Yes. Before I start, I just want to let you guys know I was really torn for the list. I know you're gonna make fun of me because it just happened to be Edgar Wright again, but for me, I chose one which
Pick
is
the right one.
Scott Pilgrim's soundtrack. I'll mention the honorable mentions later, but I went with Scott Pilgrim because of the music scene itself. Just the music's relatable. It hits all the emotions. The top three that stuck out to me for the soundtrack was Sleazy Bed Track by the Blue Tones, Black Sheep by Metric, and of course the bonus track, which is Garbage Truck by Beck. It was sung by Sex Bomb, but Beck's version was really funny. And then I wrote down the one that I thought was really funny too was We Hate You, Please Die by Crash and the Boys. That whole soundtrack itself is just amazing, and it does match up to the movie really well, and just all the different tones, plus the Rolling Stones in there too. So it's a good mixture of mainstream and indie rock, and just a little bit of original music too from the movie itself. So for me, every time it's on, I can listen to it, I can visualize the movie, and it makes you enjoy the moments of the movie itself, or just enjoy the music itself. Just the way it's played, the message, the meaning of the music itself, it's really good.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised you
great
didn't go
choice.
Baby
But,
Driver.
Good pick.
No,
I know.
I did.
I was thinking
actually,
Baby Driver actually.
I actually wrote down Baby Driver and Hot Fuzz because Edgar Wright did an excellent job on all three of these soundtrack that he picked. Him and James Gunn, these guys actually sit there and really think about
Part
the
of the movie.
soundtrack.
It's really
Oh, dude, it's
part of the
embedded.
experience,
Yeah.
I think it's more of not that soundtrack, but Drive. Drive had a really good.
Oh,
I hear you.
that was a great movie.
Yeah, Drive was
That had,
fantastic.
the Heavy in there. Shortchange Hero, I think at the end was a great
Yeah.
song.
Yep.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I think everybody needs an honorable mention.
Absolutely.
One that you were going to put up there.
I almost just yelled out Black Panther.
Hey, that music was fantastic.
My honorable mention is Tron Legacy.
Ooh.
The whole
dude,
thing
that's
was
so
Daft
good.
Punk'd,
Daft Punk.
and it just had this awesome 80s, electronic vibe to it. I loved every song in
Dig
that
that.
one.
Yeah. I actually had a really hard time deciding
it.
between two. I actually had a last minute change. Originally I was going to go with Pulp Fiction. That was my choice, just because.
Good. That was my
Nice.
callback.
Yeah, just because, again, just use
Yeah.
of music. You're a badass if your entire title card is just the title of the movie and you have Mr. Lou playing in the background just for the entire length of the song. That's awesome. And you just sit there and just mesmerized by it.
My wife and I actually watched that movie last night because of this,
Nice.
because I was
Right
trying
on.
to find what one. So I had to watch Pulp Fiction because I was hearing those songs, same thing, Felix. So yeah, I was just I need to see it.
When the song comes on, you can connect it to the movie. That's
Right.
when you really know it's hit you.
Yeah, you're
in a
taken
different
into
spot.
that scene.
Yeah.
There's a great cover of Neil Diamond. They're the Urge Overkill cover. Really Go Be a Woman Soon.
Yeah.
I just immediately
Yeah.
go to that scene where she ODs. Where she's dancing.
yeah.
And then the Chuck Berry song,
She's dancing.
the Jackrabbits Twist dance off.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Everybody knows that song. They know those
Classic, yeah.
motions. So.
Another song that everybody knows and thinks about the movie right away is definitely Aerosmith. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Boom.
Oh my God.
You're automatically thinking about Armageddon. You're like, yep, I'm there. I'm there.
I also watched that this week
Yes.
because of this. Nice cover of Sweet Emotion, Beatles song.
Oh, the
But
guilty pleasures.
honestly though, man,
Armageddon has been mentioned on this podcast entirely way too much.
so many
We're
times.
giving Michael Bay way too much credit.
Oh wait, no. Who's mentioned more, Armageddon or Wesley Snipes?
Oh, man.
I
But
don't
Wesley
know.
Snipes deserves it.
Hey, Armageddon does too. He's off.
I'm with Gotti on this one. But honestly, man, I just want to say, man, you guys pick some really good music, man. It's hard to pick like one main winner.
Those
you
are
know
all
what I
great
mean?
choices. The Scott Pilgrim, that's a good call.
Scott Pilgrim was
love
good.
that.
That's
I'm
a
gonna have to
really
go back
good
and watch
call.
that one too.
Yeah, that whole movie is
Man.
like a music video for me. I love that
A
one.
video game.
It was just so like visually stunning. It looked like
Yeah,
a video
dude.
game exactly.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Persona 5.
Oh,
There's
Oh,
so many like splash screens.
There's a
and
lot
things
of like,
popping in and-
yeah,
Yep.
there's like a lot of little audio bites too from video games too, like a lot of Zelda, like,
Yes.
little
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
I was gonna say that. Do you have anything? We've already gone too long, but like sounds or anything that like connects you to like a movie? Because the first thing I was thinking of when you were talking about your movie, I was like Kill Bill. I was trying to think of like the
Yeah.
music from
Kill
Kill Bill, but it was
Kill
the
Bill's
whistle.
That's a
Yeah.
good
The
one.
whistling song.
Whistling song.
That's actually one of my little brother's ringtones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
there's-
just watched that one the other night.
I love
Well, that's the fun thing about Pulp Fiction that you mentioned, Felix, is that when going back and listening to the soundtrack before I watched the movie was that they have embedded in between the songs, they had clips from the movie. And so there's so much dialogue rich parts of the movie that are put in between the music. You're like, I love it. Like it constantly reminds you of how much fun that movie can
yeah.
be.
Oh, definitely.
To me, those are the best soundtracks, the ones that take you into the movie or take you back to the movie too.
I have a question for you guys for music wise. Do you guys still do CDs or digital nowadays?
That's a CD.
I don't have a CD player in my car anymore. That's, like, I guess CDs are that primitive, apparently.
I just want to time out real quick. Gagne, what's your timer?
15 and
Okay,
45.
I thought I just heard a little zing there, so maybe I was just. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Oh.
Sorry.
I still buy CDs from time to time. So what about you, Gagne? Digital or CDs or vinyl?
It depends. I have some vinyl. So like I know I have Guardians on vinyl. I have another one I thought about for the soundtrack thing was American Hustle. I loved that movie, and it was another 70s rich, like all the pop songs, and so I have that on vinyl too. I have quite a few soundtracks on vinyl because those are the ones that, because they're so eclectic, you can put them on and you're not trying to skip a song or
Oh, yeah,
I don't
definitely.
need to get to the next one.
To me, vinyl still sounds cleaner. I know it sounds weird, but I don't know. I enjoy the sound of vinyl, dude. Vinyl sounds cleaner.
It's fun. It's fun for around the house, and obviously I have Spotify, and I can put Black Panther soundtrack on tomorrow on my way to work. But I like putting the vinyl on at home, and when you have a Guardian soundtrack like that, that's just clean from beginning to end. It's so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Eddie? CD?
I'm mostly digital now. The only thing that I still buy physical is video games.
Good man.
Unless I'm buying it from PC, obviously, because everything's off Steam. But yeah, and Spotify now, That's what I was listening to on the way here. I'm going to be listening to Black Panther. Going back home,
All the
I'm
stars,
listening
baby.
to Black Panther.
Well, all right, let's end it on the Black Panther then, because we are giving out a poster.
Ooh.
Ooh. Thank you guys for all the submissions. We did a random draw. The winner.
Good drum roll.
There you go.
There we go.
Mark
Who is it?
Broder. Woo!
Marky Mark.
You're going to get the poster. We're going to get some info from you. We'll send it out to you.
He's not gonna come pick it up?
Congratulations. I don't know.
It's your draft.
I
That's
thought he was
speculation.
kinda-
You have to come pick it
kinda
up
stuff.
yourself.
Yeah, come pick
Oh, yeah,
yourself.
we forgot to
There's some fine print.
tell you guys that.
He's Harry Potter. He can fucking find his way
Teleport
there.
him.
if he
on his
doesn't
broom.
come pick it up in 30 days, it goes to Eddie by default.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah.
wait,
Yeah,
I thought
you have 2
everyone
days to come get it, otherwise we fight for it.
We'll have a bonus episode.
We're going to have some other posters for you coming up soon.
Some more
we'll let you
goodies to give away.
know. Yep. We also want to thank everybody for listening. It's been a great episode 6. Anybody have anything to close it out?
Please continue to listen to us, follow us. Please give us reviews on all the social media and all the sites from from Podbean to iTunes, Stitcher Radio,
Google Play Music.
Anything.
We're going to try and get on YouTube here soon, even if it's just a
audio for now.
graphic. We're going
More
to
stuff
put
is
up some
coming.
links. Yep.
Yeah, stay tuned. Continue to support. We appreciate all of you guys. So please
love
like
you.
us.
Every
I don't
bit
just
counts.
appreciate you. I love you.
We love
Are you sure? Are you
Wakanda forever.
Shut up.
Are you ready to commit?
We don't talk about the group chat.
I didn't even go that way. I was just gonna say, you sure you're ready to commit to all the audience? Whoa, dude, calm down, bro. Calm down.
Commit to the audience because they're awesome. Thank you, everybody. We'll check you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys.
Peace out.